Hi class, this is a really important instructional video because I am going to teach you how to write your summary for our first article, America's Food Crisis and How to Fix It by Brian Walsh. So this week we read the article and I hope you had a good foundational understanding of the controversial issue of food production in our country. You got that from the documentary. Then you read Brian Walsh's perspective on this issue in his article, and you know now that Brian Walsh feels very passionately about this subject. And then I wanted you to figure out what three big ideas, if you had to look at the entire article and pick out three big ideas that Walsh was trying to convey to his readers, what would they be? And you were supposed to post those in a journal entry. So I actually posted mine right here on this paper. So I am going to go down, and these are the three big ideas that I came up with. I don't expect your big ideas to look just like mine at all, but some of our ideas should definitely overlap. So one big idea I picked out was Walsh made sure to explain to the reader the difference between industrial and sustainable farming. He also spent a lot of time, especially in the first part of the article, discussing the negative impact on animals, the environment, and our health of eating this industrial meat. And then the last part of the article, he talked about how we can change this crisis, and he offered solutions to fixing the problem. So those are the three big ideas that I'm going to focus on. Okay, so on the template, which is posted in this week's module, you will see the 11 sentence layout of this paragraph. Okay, I do not always expect you to follow a template 100%. Some of you are very seasoned writers and you are probably able to write a summary on your own and it be effective, but most of you are probably not masterful writers, and that's why I'm providing a template for you, because it's a good jumping off point to get you used to formatting a strong summary. Okay, so that's what this is. So I've got everything labeled by sentences. So sentence one, of course, is always going to be a topic sentence. Now remember, this summary is just going to be one paragraph when you're finished. So the first sentence is a topic sentence. It introduces the central idea conveyed by the author. Okay, and that's also the sentence where you're going to tell the title of the work and the author's last name and just like the general topic. Sentence two is going to be your first big idea, whatever that is. In sentence three, you are going to prove that. You're going to prove it either using a direct quotation, a paraphrase, or maybe even a summary. And then sentence four, that's commentary. That's where you as the writer explain to the reader exactly why that's important. Okay, this sentence shows your insight into the text. It's not your opinion, because opinions have no place in summary, but it is an explanation to the reader why it's important. So you're basically teaching the reader, okay, why this big idea is important. You're tying up all the loose ends. And then you'll see in sentence 5 through 7, you follow that exact same pattern, but you're doing it with the second big idea, okay, exact same thing. And then in sentences 8 through 10, you're also following that same pattern, but you're using big idea number 3. So it's all the same pattern all the way throughout. And then in the last sentence, sentence 11, that's your concluding sentence. All right, so we're going to work on this together. So here are my big ideas. I'm going to write this with you as I go, okay? And we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to actually skip sentence 1 right now. I'm going to write a little note here that I'm skipping it, okay? Because I don't want to deal with that right now. I want to get right to my big ideas. All right, so I'm going to take this this phrase and actually turn it into a sentence. Okay, because I know it's got to be a sentence eventually. So I think I want to say something like, Walsh gives the reader a firm understanding of the differences between industrial farming and sustainable farming. Okay, there's my first big idea. I also know that since I'm going to be talking about 3 different big ideas, I need a transition word right here. So, because I need the reader to know this is the first point that I'm making, but there will be others. Okay, so I could use something as easy as first, initially, primarily, any of those transition words. Okay, so there's my first one. And then I'm just going to make a little note. Please don't leave these in your summary before you turn them in. But I'm going to make a little note that that's sentence number 2. Okay? And then sentence number 3 is going to be my evidence. Okay? So look, sentence number 3, that's my proof. It can be a quotation, a paraphrase, or even a summary to show big idea number 1. So I'm looking at the article while I sit and make this video. I'm looking at the article, and there's a few things I like actually that I pulled out when I was annotating. There was one where he called the current system, the industrial system that we use now, he called it destructive. And then he said another small little quote that I want to pull out. He said that sustainable farming doesn't bankrupt the earth. So I'm going to go ahead and paraphrase that. Okay? The author describes our current agricultural system as destructive and sustainable farming as a method that doesn't, quote, bankrupt the earth. Okay, let me get rid of my typos. Okay, so I want you to remember as you're writing this, it doesn't have to be perfect. You might want to come back later and, finish up some thoughts or change some words, but right now we're just getting down, the main part of it. So I bet you're wondering, or you might already know, why I put destructive and bankrupt the earth in quotation marks. And it's because I paraphrased what he said, but he did use these exact words. So I'm going to put those phrases in quotation marks to show the reader that those are his phrases that he used. Okay? And remember, anytime I pull the author's words or ideas, I have to give a citation. Actually, I think that was on page 32. Let me look. Yes, that was on page 32. Let me make sure I get the right page. All right. Now, sentence 4 is going to be the commentary. Okay? So, a lot of students have trouble with commentary, but it's actually really easy. This is just one sentence where you are explaining to the reader, okay, the link between sentence 2 and sentence 3. See? It's right up here. That shows the link between sentence 2 and sentence 3. Remember, it's not an opinion. It's a statement of analysis. Okay? A good transition word to start this, a good sentence starter is, in other words. Okay? So in other words, I'm going to put it a different way for the reader. In other words, Walsh believes that industrial farming doesn't have longevity, okay? It can't last. And sustainable farming is beneficial long term. Now, those are my words, so I don't have to, that's my explanation, so I don't have to do any kind of citing right there. Okay? So, I have just finished, I'm going to get rid of these because we definitely don't want those in our paragraph. I have just finished my first pattern, that A pattern, and I'm going to stick those all together. Okay? So let me show you one more time. I skipped sentence 1. I totally skipped that. Okay? I started with sentence 2 with my first big idea, proof of my first big idea, and then commentary that explains my first big idea. I'm now going to go to sentence 5 and state my second big idea. Okay? So remember, I used the word first up here because I knew there were going to be multiple points I was making. So I'm going to go right here. This is going to be sentence number 5. And I'm going to use another transition word, next. And then I'm going to move on to my second big idea, which is the negative impact on animals, the environment, and our health. Okay, so I've got to turn that phrase into a sentence. Okay, I'm thinking, you know what, instead of next is fine. I'm just feeling in addition today, so I'm going to put in addition. All right, here we go. In addition, I could say something like, oh, I know what I'm going to say. That first paragraph where he uses all that imagery, I think I'm going to talk about that. So in addition, the author vividly describes the horrific impacts of industrial farming on animals, the environment, and human health. Okay, there's my second big idea. Okay, so just to recap, I just did sentence number 5, which is second big idea number 2. I'm going to follow the same pattern and do proof and commentary. Okay? So I need some proof. That first paragraph with all those nasty details about the pigs and the chopped off tails and all that stuff, I think that's what I want to use as my proof. And I also, you know what? I could pull one from each. What did he say about the impact on animals? What did he say about the impact on the environment? What did he say about human health? I could kind of summarize that all in one sentence. So I'm going to try that. So I'm going to use his name here. Walsh speaks of the inhumane conditions of CAFOs, the dead zones, remember about the fish, created by our overuse of chemical fertilizer. There's my environment. And then what about human health? Well, I know he said we were really fat. He did say that and America's, I think, addiction to meat. That's his phrase. Addiction to meat. That has fueled the obesity epidemic and all kinds of other problems. Okay, so I summarized big time in that one. Okay, I took a whole lot of chunks of the text